Hi guys, welcome to the channel. This is an airport scenery review of Tacoma Narrows, KTIW in Washington State in the United States. This package is available in the marketplace and costs around $13 US or around €11 or 17 Canadian dollars. The download size is 485 megabytes. The size on disk once installed is 830 megabytes. This area of the West Coast is beautiful, and this airport is located 18 miles away from Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. The developer tells us that this package includes optimized PBR buildings, detailed ground poly, and the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Let's have a look. First of all, this is the location of this airport on the globe, and this is its corresponding 10.9 or airport diagram. According to that diagram and my observations, the taxiway signs are correct, the approach lighting is correct, the PAPI is correct. The airport doesn't have many other systems, but everything here looks correct except for actually the runway edge lighting, but I haven't seen a single airport yet that has correct runway edge lighting, so I digress. This is the before and after shot of the world view of the airport. From runway 17, the before and after shot, and pretty much pay notice of the bridge in the background. That is most of the scenery outside of the airport area is basically just that bridge. Behind runway 17 here, you've got a treed area on approach to 17, and that area is done. But any other scenery outside of this area, I haven't noticed any difference. And running along the terminal area here, before and after shots, clearly there's a major difference here. But as you'll see in the close-up shots that we're going to do of the airport, it isn't the best scenery I've seen, that's for sure. It holds up well at this distance and speed, but as you might be coming up to park an aircraft at any of these hangars, you'll see it's not as good as some of the packages that are being released. The textures on the ground hold up pretty good at this distance here. As you get a little bit closer, they become a little bit more apparent that they're low res. The runway and taxiway or pavement surfaces are all actually very nice. I'm not really a fan of that almost photoshopped soft edge between the runway and dirt, but it is pretty apparent here the difference in texture resolution between the runway or taxiway surface here and the dirt. The bridge on the right is very apparent on approach to runway 35. And that bridge is included as an upgrade, and it's a considerable one. The standard or default scenery here, the bridge is not very nice at all. And of course, the upgraded bridge from a distance looks very nice, especially if you're only ever viewing it on approach. That being said, the bridge is not about to win any awards for best model. It's basic at best and reminds me sort of a very basic and basically textured SketchUp model. But it does the job if you're flying on approach to 35 or 17 and you see the bridge to your right or left. It looks plenty good for coming in for a landing or takeoff and flying in around this area. The default night scenery is shown here and is plenty nice. I've said that before, but is inaccurate. The upgraded night shown here is a more accurate representation of this airport with no taxi edge lighting and proper approach systems. But as we start to get a little bit closer, and you will get closer than this even while you're taxiing past many of these buildings and pulling up to them, you start to notice that the model looks very basic. It doesn't hold up near as well as even some of the early scenery packages released for Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. So I kind of feel like this is sort of has a last generation feel to a lot of the buildings because of these textures. It's definitely not as detailed as something like Key West or Portland, for instance. Especially if you look at some of the windows here below the orange sign and sort of the lack of reflections or any type of depth, and the control tower here, it just looks very flat compared to, and just sort of very solid painted textures. It's not a horrible scenery by any means, but it just doesn't feel next generation. And of course, the bridge in the background there is an important aspect of this scenery. If you do fly around this area a lot, or even if you're flying out of the airports nearby, this may be a considerable package for you just for that bridge and this airport alone. But that's with any of the sceneries. I don't think anyone who's not familiar with this area would be jumping at the chance to buy this package to fly in around this area. And here we're just going to traverse from one side of the scenery package essentially to the other along the terminal side to give you an idea of the scope and size of this package and scenery. Of course, that excludes the bridge, but you can see the runway off to the left. And last but not least, as the bridge, in my opinion, is a very important part of this scenery package, I felt it important to see if we could fly under it. And I'm happy to report that, yes, we can fly under it, but there is kind of a strange bug that seems to exhibit itself when we do, and that is that we do get under there safely, but our engine seems to quit when we do that. I don't know if this is a bug with the scenery package itself or Microsoft Flight Simulator as it stands right now, but either way, I thought it important to mention that if you fly under this bridge, you will probably have to restart your engines very quickly. And with that, guys, as always, I appreciate your support, and I hope you enjoyed this scenery review of KTIW. Take care, guys. See you in the next video.